the Ostend Manifesto. Where slavery is, their liberty cannot be. And where liberty is, their slavery cannot be. Abraham Lincoln. The Ostend Manifesto was a document written in 1854 by U.S. diplomats James Buchanan, James Mason, and Pierre Solé. These diplomats went to Ostend, Belgium to draw up a document that stated that Spain had to sell Cuba to the United States for $120 million. And if Spain refused, the United States would take Cuba by force. The North and South had different mindsets concerning the Ostend Manifesto. However, ultimately, the Ostend Manifesto showed the two differing mindsets concerning slavery between the North and the South during the antebellum era in the United States, and how this contributed to starting the Civil War. The South's mindset on the Ostend Manifesto. The South's economy depended on slave labor. And as stated by Michael J. Connolly, the author of Tearing Down the Burning House, the president at the time, President Franklin Pierce, a Southern Democrat, supported the annexation of Cuba. This made Northerners question the actual intent behind acquiring Cuba. Cuba was also extreme exporter of goods, and it thrived in the slave trade, which made Southern merchants even more excited to acquire the island. If Cuba did get acquired by the United States, it would enter the United States as a slave state. This would swing the power from the North to the South. This would not only give the South more economic power, but would grow slavery even farther south. The North's mindset on the Ostend Manifesto. The North saw the Ostend Manifesto as just an aggressive plan to extend slavery. They also saw it as unconstitutional and seeing that the document could provide no positive outcomes. According to Funk and Wagnall's New World Encyclopedia, publication of the manifesto caused a sensation among anti-slavery forces who feared the acquisition of Cuba would strengthen pro-slavery forces. The North was against slavery. The Northerners did not want any more slavery to be established, let alone slavery flourish. Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau was an abolitionist at the time. He, however, saw a different perspective from the Northern side. He thought even though Northerners were against slavery, they did nothing to stand up and stop it. When rumors broke about the Ostend Manifesto, he just thought Northerners did nothing to take action. He just thought that they just voiced opinions and outrage and didn't stand up. James Buchanan and political parties. As if the country was not already divided against itself, the document made it worse. The two sides argued back and forth over the Ostend Manifesto. However, the Ostend Manifesto ultimately showed the Whig and Republican parties that the Democrats' slave economy mindset wanted to dictate and run the country. The Democratic Party was also upset with Franklin Pierce's actions, so they chose a new presidential candidate. They chose James Buchanan, one of the original writers of the document. Northerners, after hearing this, were upset because James Buchanan eventually did win the presidency. They were unhappy because they realized how uncommitted he was to the North and how he favored the South in many ways. Buchanan had an unproductive presidency because he was once again unable to unite the North and the South, making the Civil War unavoidable. The Civil War started on April 12, 1861. Even though the Ostend Manifesto was written 7 years earlier, it still contributed to starting the Civil War. The document showed how different the North and South really were. In the end, the document was not successful since the United States never did acquire Cuba. The North was angry with the South over the document, and the South was annoyed by the North's reaction by this. Ultimately, the manifesto was just a document born of greed and power. And in the end, it was nothing more than an attempt by the South to gain power over the North and preserve its way of life. Thank you.